So how do you meditate upon a mistake, right? So you up and you are filled with regret and possibly embarrassment, likely embarrassment. How do you make that go away? Well, you're not going to make it go away, but you can look past it, and let me tell you how. Start focusing on the sensations around your body. You're going to be already feeling a certain way. Maybe it's a tightness in your chest, maybe like a tingling sensation around your face, whatever it might be for you. Maybe it's some pressure. You're going to be thinking, you're not going to be feeling great. All these negative physiological sensations are going to be brewing about within you. And you just gotta let yourself feel those things, right? Easier said than done. So while you're doing that, just simply direct your attention towards your breath, however you might be breathing, and you just sit there. Here's another way to look at it. If you've ever seen one of those optical illusions where they tell you to like look at a dot, and then that dot is surrounded by like light blue dots or something like that, and then if you stare at the little black dot long enough in the center, all the blue dots disappear, or like everything disappears and it's just white. This is kind of like that. So you're looking at your breath, you're letting your breath do its own thing, you're just directing your focus at it. While you're doing this, eventually you're going to just let it go. It's eventually going to dissipate, and that's not to say that it won't come back or you're not going to feel it again. It's more like you get bored with it almost. So one of the things that people might want to do is they might want to distract themselves. They'll go about playing a game, reading a book. Some people might just be straight up crying, which is honestly, I personally would believe, better than, distracting yourself. Because when you distract yourself, you're not letting yourself figure anything out. You're not letting yourself play out those thoughts. You're kind of just burying it. And it's going to come back up eventually. And if it doesn't, that's extremely unhealthy, because it's going to be buried in your subconscious, where it's going to run amok, and you'll be feeling one way about something, and like it'll be like kind of stuck in your thoughts, and it'll never really play out. You'll like think about it from time to time, but you'll quickly bury it again, and like it might influence how you feel about different people, because you haven't really dealt with the feelings and all the thoughts that you might have been affected by and how it might have changed you. So crying, I'd say, is honestly one of the better things you can do, aside from distract yourself with TV, video games, even honestly reading. So you got to work with these thoughts and feelings, right? So what are you doing? You're focusing. So let's just go back to focusing on the breath. As you're focusing on the breath, it's the same as staring at that dot on that optical illusion sheet of paper, where if you stare at it long enough, everything disappears and turns white. You're staring at your breath. You're focusing on your breath. And while you're doing this, you are most certainly experiencing these sensations, and they are very vivid. For the most part, they are, because you don't have those distractions. It's sort of just there with you. So that's essentially the same as you focusing on the dot, and you're still seeing all the blue dots around it, right? So at this point, you're going to want to just keep doing that, right? With no real expectation that it's going to go away. Honestly, it probably won't feel like it is going to go away, because if it's really that bad, yeah, it's going to suck. However, eventually you're going to, and your brain sort of just naturally does this, is it's going to reach a level where it's like, this isn't that productive, or I've experienced enough of this where I might be able to move on to some other thought at this point. So you start to begin thinking about other things. You may even forget to be focusing on the breath, because you just kind of get distracted by your own thoughts. And this is a great sign, because now it's not as powerful of a thought. You've proven to yourself that you can be present with that painful thought process going through your head and your body. So you may start to relax simply because you've gotten used to how you're feeling. And that's really the key here. And that's kind of the same thing with meditation. It's not always about the relaxation, trying to relax. It's simply about getting used to how you're feeling, and then you can relax because you become used to how you're feeling. And so the blue dots begin to disappear. Let's just say those bad thoughts come up again, right? They're going to. Oh, most certainly they're going to. Well, you know, some people, they may immediately freak out, you know, not literally freak out. Bad thoughts. Oh. You know, it's just, you feel it, you know, it hits you. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. You're reminded of something bad and you just like, you feel it in your chest, all over you almost. And yeah, you either let yourself sit with it or you bury it quickly, you focus on something else. So the key here is to, whenever it comes about again, is to simply just let it come about, right? You, like it kind of said about vulnerability, it being a necessity to feel vulnerability. You basically just have to let yourself deal with it and let yourself acknowledge it, understand it, and allow yourself to grow from it. Because of all the bad things that happen to you, it's most important to recognize that a mistake is something that can be always grown upon. So always remember that. You know, there's always a lesson to be learned. And even though bad things may happen, it doesn't necessarily mean you're moving in the opposite direction. And if you focus on how you can grow positively from them, what you can learn, you're always going to be moving forward. If you beat yourself up about it, if you're filled with regret, if you're consumed by it, you will only move backwards. You will be at a standstill. And that is an unfortunate thing indeed. But you got this. You do. Anyways, that's all I got. Peace.